Hello and welcome to a new series called Crusader Kings 3 Tips. This is going to be a short video that is between 3 and 5 minutes to tell you a tip about CK3. And I thought we would start with something simple, and that thing simple would be how to pick a starting nation. And if you like this series, make sure to like and subscribe, and let's get into it. First off, if you want to pick a starting nation and you are new to the game, I would highly recommend picking Ireland or doing the tutorial for Ireland. I think they are a very easy starting nation and it would be very easy to figure out what to do. Usually the petty king right here, Duke of Munster, is a great for beginners. There are 3 things that you want to consider when picking a nation. The first one is having an end goal. What is your end goal for the nation? Your interest in that culture, religion, and other things. And the last one being difficulty. So we should break down why I mean for all 3 of those. For the first one is, what would your goal be? So example, if we pick Duke of Munster for Ireland. I think Ireland is a great place to look for end goals because it's very simple. You also, in my opinion, should make multiple goals and not just have one large goal. Because if you just have one large goal, then you'll endlessly have to try to figure that out. So for Ireland, for example, the first thing that you would want to do is probably form the Kingdom of Ireland. And after that, you would probably maybe want to go for like one other kingdom. But the big end goal for Ireland is to form Britannia. So for the importance of picking out a nation is you want to figure out what your end goal for that starting nation is. If you don't really have an end goal for that starting nation, then you won't really enjoy that. There is also the option of role playing. So if you want to role play, you also probably should have an end goal while role playing, or else you probably won't have as much fun while role playing. So you just want to pick a nation and then figure out what your end goal for that nation is. The second starting criteria that I think is very important is your interest in the region or religion and culture. If you don't really have an interest for that area, then you probably really won't enjoy playing that. So for example, for me, one of the first nations that I played was in Ireland because I am part Irish. Since I have a strong connection to Ireland, I felt like I was role-playing as maybe one of my ancestors. With that, I was able to feel more connected to the game and I really enjoyed playing it more. There also, you don't have to be connected. I also think, for example, playing a game in India is very interesting because you don't see many people play campaigns in India. So it makes it very unique and a lot of people don't do it, especially if you want to create videos and stuff like that. If you play in a very different nation that a lot of people don't play in, it is much more interesting to people to watch your videos. So starting nation should be interesting to you and other people. It doesn't have to be because of the culture or religion. It could be because you don't see other people playing it or you just think it would be fun there. And then the third one I think is difficulty. I think this is very important because if you're playing a very hard nation, then you probably won't have fun. For example, one of the hardest nations that I think to play is Croatia and this other D nation. And the reason why they are so hard is because they are sandwiched by very powerful nations. And for you to even expand, it's pretty much impossible. There is no one that you can really take out unless the Byzantines or the HRE explode. Other than that, you will probably be eaten by the Byzantines and HRE. So if you pick a very difficult nation as your first nation to play, or even one of your first few, you probably won't have a good time. So it is very good to try to pick a nation that has a lot of room to expand. For example, one of these nations could be Ireland because you have a lot of room to expand, or doing a nation inside the HRE. Because if you play as a nation inside of the HRE, you can still expand into other places in the HRE without worrying. Sometimes playing as a smaller vassal is much more enjoyable and less difficult because you don't have to worry about bigger nations destroying you because your liege will be able to protect you from those wars. There are also many other factors that you can pick, that you can decide to pick your nation. I think these 3 main factors are very important for you picking, and it helps you pick a nation. And so if you are, I think, have a goal in mind, if you have an interest in it and you figure out the difficulty, then it's okay. Say that you want to have a more difficult campaign, I would recommend Croatia, for example, because I really think they're one of the hardest nations to play. Someone is then going to be like, I played Croatia and it was the easiest game I've ever had. Well, yeah, sure, maybe you're just better at the game than me. But I think if you follow those 3 criteria, I think you'll have a better picking of how to pick a nation. Also, if you want to know how difficult, I kind of described that the difficulty resembles neighbors, how powerful they are, and if you have a liege, because sometimes playing as a vassal is much easier, but if you want to become independent, that is where the difficulty might come. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this first little short tips video. If you want me to make these longer or have them more concise or something like that, please let me know down in the description down below. But I thought these would be a nice little small tips video that you can just shortly pick and choose which one you want to watch and not have to go through all of them very long. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to like and subscribe, and I shall see you in a future video. See you later. Bye.